All right, welcome Country Day and happy end of the year. This is, of course, the last town hall of the year, and joining me today is Mr. Laurie, of course, Ms. Monahan, and Mr. Sterling as well. So we're going to have a couple things we're going to say goodbye about, and just a quick reminder about June 2nd is the drive-through closing. If you're planning on being there to pick up stuff like a yearbook and things like that, you have an email that tells you the times you're going through for each one of them, and we'll see you there. Mr. Laurie.
Hey, middle school. We made it to the end of the year. Congratulations. We're all looking forward to seeing you on campus on Tuesday. Hopefully you can make it. For those of you who are in 8th grade or not returning, there's stuff that you should bring back. That'll be all in an email in terms, the short story is that if you're not coming back, bring your Chromebook back to campus. And so I'll send out an email reminder to your parents as well so that they have that information. Today, we have Ms. Monahan and Ms. Sterling with us, just as an opportunity to get to know them better as we finish up the year. And Ms. Monahan, Ms. Sterling, you ready for the questions?
All right.
Okay. All right. Here's my first question. This one, you're both writers. So if you could write a book, what genre would you write it in? Mystery, romance, historical fiction, science fiction, nonfiction?
I think I would probably really like to do something that is speculative fiction or science fiction, although I really, really love historical fiction as a genre.
Yeah, I really enjoy reading historical fiction. I like speculative fiction, but really I think I get a lot of writing material from my classroom and from my students. And so I think my best genre, and when I choose to write, it would be realistic fiction. I tend to like sort of contemporary fiction and humor and satire.
Great. Mr. Bowman, what would you write?
Oh gosh, I really love to read, and I read probably 4 or 5 books a week. I mean, it's like probably a major vice for me. Thank gosh for Kindle Unlimited. I've really been big into reading lately. Chinese martial arts style books, like wushu and things like that. So kind of like the old kung fu theater ones where, they're able to like kind of do the superhero thing, flying through the air and things like that, lightning bolts and stuff. I'm really digging that. So I think I'd have to go for that kind of book.
All right. Well, thanks. Okay. The zombie apocalypse is coming. Who are 3 people you want on your team? Ms. Monahan?
Yeah, can I claim Ed too?
I think we're all going to share Ed. That's the easy one out there. I think it might pull along Glenn Mangold too, our high school physics scene, because he is a real Renaissance man and he has everything going on. And I think I'd want to bring my husband too, because he is a trained responder. He's a retired Coast Guard reservist who's done Homeland Security stuff. So he'd be good to have on my side as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I think sentimentally speaking, of course, I would just claim my immediate family because I want to protect them and keep them safe. So my husband, but I think he'd do pretty well in the zombie apocalypse as well. He's also got a military background and has worked in intelligence. So, okay, have him on my team. And then my daughter, so I can protect her. And third person, I don't know, whoever looks strongest and is nearby that I can grab.
That seems like a good plan. Mr. Bowman, who would be on yours?
Oh, my immediate family, of course.
That's 3.
If it wasn't just my immediate family, I'd go for my 2 best friends I grew up with. One is a corrections officer in Old Folsom, and the other one is a firefighter of Idaho. So we got in trouble when we were younger. I think we can get out of trouble when we're older.
Lots of skills there. Yeah. Okay, let's see. I don't know if you all use emojis, but what is your most used emoji? If you don't use one, imagine which one it would be.
I don't do tons of emojis per se, but I kind of dig on Bitmoji, and I have to admit I really enjoyed for a while the one that was working from home with somebody sitting at home at a desk with a laptop.
Okay.
Probably my most used emoji is one of like those laughing smiley face where they're just like, ah, and like tears coming down, or the like I'm sort of cockeyed and tongue sticking out. Like, I don't know what I'm doing right now. Just winging it here.
Yeah.
Emoji.
There you go. Mr. Bowman, do I have to ask?
You know, the one I really like to use is the sunglasses with the half smile.
All right. You have to sing karaoke. What song do you pick?
That is a situation that I usually try to avoid.
Okay.
Trying to think. Maybe well, I'm gonna have to think on that one.
Okay.
We did karaoke years ago when we had to change the 7th grade trip to a dude ranch on sort of an emergency flow. And I think I got up with the group doing Love Shack, and we pretty well rocked that.
Mr. Bowman, you're in on this one. You might as well answer all of them now.
Anything by ACDC, because,
Okay.
you know, as my kid says, I got a good yelling voice and a bad singing voice.
Miss Sterling, did you come up with one?
Oh, I'm thinking probably something from my own middle school days. Maybe I would go with the Spice Girls.
Okay, there you
Yeah.
go. All right, so going back to childhood, what was your least favorite food as a child?
Oh, you know what's really weird is the foods that I hated most as a kid are like my favorites now. Like all of the vegetables, avocado, asparagus, Brussels sprouts. Those were the ones I would not eat, and now they're my favorite vegetables.
Oh, wow.
I've kind of reversed that. My mom said I used to love cream cheese or cottage cheese, and now I will refuse to eat it. Okay, what did I hate as a kid?
It's okay. Mr. Bowman?
Zucchini.
Ah,
I used to work at a restaurant in the kitchen as a cook, and every Friday and Saturday night from 3 to 11, one of my responsibilities is slicing bread 55 pounds of zucchini. Every Friday and
wow.
Saturday. Man, I can't stand zucchini.
Oh. Yeah, it's funny thinking about it for me. Like my parents always had like kimchi in their fridge, and I would not touch it. And now, like I can't get enough of it. Okay, let's see. Okay, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, I guess 2000s. Which decade do you love the most and why? You can add other decades.
60s, because they had the best cars.
60s? Or did you say
They had the
50s?
best cars.
Okay.
There's just something about those middle school and high school years that always, and college years that take you back. So I am definitely a child of the 80s.
Okay.
I guess if I was going to time travel and get to live in a different decade that I haven't experienced, it would be the 60s, just because so much was happening. It was such a time of change in the country.
And so did I say that was the last question? No? Okay. All right. This will be the last question then. If you could choose a superpower, what would it be?
I'm there with Ms. Khan. I think teleportation would be amazing.
Flying. Yeah, always wanted to fly. And I'm afraid of heights, but if I could just fly and soar through the sky, that would be awesome.
Mr. Bowman?
Either telekinesis or power over time.
All right.
Not that I've thought about these things.
Well, I think we've learned a lot about all of our different faculty members. And so I'm thankful to you, Ms. Monahan, Ms. Sterling, and of course, Mr. Bowman for making time for this. And just want to wish the rest of you a happy summer. And I'm glad that we'll be able to see you on Tuesday before we all head out.
Goodbye, Country Day, and have a great summer.